Good afternoon. Today we have with us Dr. Tiell from Tiffin University and the United States Sports Academy. If you would please, Dr. Tiell, take it away and kind of give us a brief bio, please.
Okay, well, evidently I'm connected to two different universities. My primary one is Tiffin University in the Midwest in Ohio. I wore a lot of hats there. Right now I'm just the professor of management, sport management, and full time. And then I am just part of the distance faculty for the United States Sports Academy. So I get to do some fun international teaching, a lot of online work, supervising doctoral students. And I guess on the side, I just have a lot of little different activities, writing a couple textbooks and co-chair of the Women's Leadership Symposium and Intercollegiate Athletics for the NCAA, and Women's Leader has taken that over. Just a lot of stuff. I mean, there's just a lot
And
of
a podcast as well.
did one of those. Right. So that's me. My doctorate is from the Sports Academy, U.S. Sports Academy. My master's graduate work was at the UNC Chapel Thrill in North Carolina. Great school, great experience. And then my undergrad was with Troy University in Alabama.
Oh, wonderful. I did not know that.
That's right.
So how was it that you got involved in the Olympic side of things?
The academic experience with the Olympians. Actually, we are recruiting for the sixth program that's going to commence in Paris in 2024. Actually, when I finished my doctorate in 2004, I was challenged by my mentor colleague to say, hey, take a group of students to the Olympics. It was in Athens, Greece. And we had another professor at the university who was married, divorced then, to a diplomat, and lived there for 25 years teaching, so had some connections. And it was just a phenomenal experience. And at the same time, one of my colleagues at the Sports Academy, Francis Dove-Edwin, two-time Olympian, teamed up with me to put together some extra programming for the students. And it's just grown and evolved every 4 years with the Summer Olympics. Francis has come on board, introduced me to other Olympians, and just contacts have grown and grown and grown on all sides, from executives and people on the back end at the local organizing committee to Olympians, current and former, and everything in between.
So then you were not an Olympian yourself?
No, just a scholar. I mean, it's just, international sports, people just, aspiring the Olympics. Cool. Growing up, watching it. And as I dived into it and learned more and more about it, the Olympism and the values and what they teach, and the wholesomeness and the, striving for excellence and everything else, it just like captivated me, and it captivates a lot of people to be around the Olympics. It's just, you got the World Cup and you got the Olympics. How can it get any better? I know we're saturated now with so many sport opportunities and in such a fragmented landscape, but the Olympics are just awesome. So I've just been a scholar of them, and so yes, a lot of research, a lot of connections, and sharing that, obviously, knowledge with others.
How was it that you got interested in sport? Were you a high school athlete, a child athlete? What is it that you did that made you interested in sport
Probably had three brothers that whatever, and I don't know, it was just always in my blood and ingrained in me and everything. And actually, I received a scholarship, a journalism scholarship, to Troy, and for my tuition and books. Well, actually, my books came through a track scholarship or what have you, but I switched even before I went, and they let me keep the scholarship. And I went to, I said I wanted to teach. And so physical education was the first, avenue of it. And I don't know, it was just, like I said, something in my blood that always involved in athletics, and it did fairly well, I guess, and got involved in umpiring and officiating, like that side of it, got into coaching, like that's, loved it all. What the heck? And now I'm, a teacher and a scholar of it, and get into the sport business and the, backside of it. So I think I got a little bit of everything. So I don't know, but probably the three brothers and competitiveness and good stable family, and a very large high school graduated, probably fairly large, I guess 300 or 400 or something, and did okay. And just always part of the limited numbers of sports that we had back in the day for women.
I've talked to other female coaches and women who are involved in sports, and many of them have started as collegiate athletes. They did a collegiate athlete. They thought, well, I enjoy being part of a team and the camaraderie, and I want to continue in that. But that wasn't necessarily your path. You're like, no.
And it was funny. I think as I was on the college track team, but I was involved. I had to pay a lot of my own way, even though I had a tuition scholarship. I think it was for half tuition. I still had to pay bills. My parents helped a couple $100, but I had to do it. And so I always held down multiple jobs. And one of them that I loved and gravitated to was officiating anything. So, I mean, softball, basketball, volleyball, you name it. I even did a high school football game. I was rented a house from the assigner of officials for the area. So always had I was always given a lot of gigs, plenty of work. And in a pinch one time, he says, "You're going to do football." I never did. It's like, "You're going to be in the backfield." I can't even remember, obviously, so long ago, but by God, I did it. Didn't shy away from anything. So, but that's, I love that aspect of it. And that, my last textbook is, or writing a second edition now for sport governance. And I think the rules and regulations and the black and white, that's, that really is something that I gravitate to. And that's sports to me, looking at it from that type of perspective.
A rule follower type of personality.
I break rules. They say I break rules and do my own thing, but I think the rules are important, and following the rules, and at least I try to teach that ethics. It's a pretty good thing. It's a pretty good thing to have.
So then let's kind of transition to your podcast. How did the podcast come about, and is it still in existence?
No, it's not still in existence. It was totally a COVID, let's get through this boredom thing, and I don't know. I'm a collector of relationships, and the people that I was able to have on there, John Buccigross from ESPN, George Whitfield from College Game Day. And there were just some great people there. I can't remember them all, but I was impressed myself with some of them. But and they said yes, because they were bored too and could jump on. It helped. My daughter was in sport communication, so she did a little back end work for me. And I think that helped Kat as she was going out for her, big girl job interviews. That really helped as well. So her having that experience. So that was the podcast. It probably ran a year, but that there and gone. Could always bring it back up. We've got so many other projects in the pipeline.
Within the podcast, who do you think was the favorite interview? Did you have a favorite interview?
Buccigross, I said that, if I launched it the following year, he would be it. He was funny. He was natural. He was just so authentic and down to earth. So it was awesome. And there's two universities in town here, and he went to the rival or the second university, Heidelberg University, and he always comes back and does a golf outing at the country club where we are. And so I met him there one time, and so just real down to earth. It was awesome.
So that kind of leads me into the concept of networking. The students at Endicott do learn about the importance of networking. And you were able to pull off that podcast because of the networking you had done over the years.
Yeah, sure.
Where do you place, what kind of value do you place on networking? How do you go about it? What advice can you give to undergraduate or graduate students regarding networking?
Yeah. Obviously over time, it's in my blood now and everything, but I think from early onset, it was just a drive, a natural, I wanted to make sure I always wrote things down, at conferences, continue writing and keep lists and keep names and go back and check on them. And I think that's where networking started, remembering those professionals, everyone that you heard from somewhere else. How will they fit into your life later on? Will they, if you stay in the sports industry, trying to find a place for them. And, that's, I just went through my LinkedIn account. I'm not going to tell you how many networks or contacts or whatever I had, because I accepted way too many at the beginning, but I filtered through them just recently for the first time. And whittled it. I took some time and just saved the sport contacts only. And I'm impressed as heck. I was like, wow, good job. Just it's like, LinkedIn, incredible. And but that was, something. So I know, thinking of some people I haven't kept in contact with and where they are now, they've kept up with their LinkedIn account or what have you. But it's those little things that being diligent, that's a tip about networking is trying to find how you can help someone or how someone can help you, because obviously they talk about making a network or making a contact, but then actually having them in your network where they can refer to you and vice versa. You can call upon them for a favor or vice versa. Getting them in your network, that's cultivating a relationship, just like fundraising, right? But it's just I guess in networking, you're collecting relationships. That's exactly what you are. And you just have to be diligent about it. And it's not just, it's a little cheesy. I know in the fundraising department and everything, make sure you have those automated happy birthday messages and things like that. No, come on. You got to get a little more creative than that. Really, really creating opportunities any way that you can so that you'll be in their circles. That's, a good tip, I guess.
When I was in fundraising, for the university,
Yes, yes.
I would do handwritten notes. I
Very
did
good.
not send out automated notes only because I myself like to get that handwritten acknowledgement that I have done something or said something or seen something or made a difference in someone's life. And so I would always write, those handwritten notes. And during COVID, I was writing a lot of notes, a lot of notes, when working at the university.
Deb Antoine, she was the executive director for the Women's Sports Foundation. She just retired, but recently. But I was in a conference room with her. We had about, I don't know how many people on Zoom from around the world, and then a conference table of about 10 of us. And she was writing hand thank you notes there. And kind of me was like, well, when it was all over with, everybody at that table got her thank you note with her personal and with their phone number on it. And it was great touch. Right.
The time that it takes, and people realize that. I think people who are under.
She did it right there on the spot. She's in a Zoom meeting, in a conference meeting, and she could take the time to do that. And we can multitask, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So you did earlier. You mentioned conferences. What kind of value do you place on actual attendance at conferences now that the COVID era is over? We're back to going to things full time.
Sometimes it's not so much the content of the sessions, but the contacts that you're going to make at the sessions in between and during, who's sitting next to you to your left and right that you haven't met before, and just seeing that contact list of what type of people are actually attending that type of conference and what have you. It's great. I mean, it's when it's something in your realm of expertise or interest area, career avenue, you got to do it. You got to have those like-minded people that are going to be around you. That's going to, that's where the networking takes place. So I just brought a group of students to the University of Michigan Sport Business Conference, and I mean, outstanding. And the students dressing to the nines in their business, coats and ties and skirts and the whole business, and everyone like that. And they were over the moon. I mean, I was love to see how jacked they were about the connections that they made.
So what do you perceive from the beginning of your career until now? What has been the biggest hurdle, perhaps professionally or personally, that you've had to overcome to get where you are today?
I mean, there's some great little things. It's always a grind and working nonstop and thinking, the way you're going to get to where you want to be is going to take that effort more than anyone else or something like that. But I do remember someone who was one of my students, who was a baseball coach, he and I were promoted to assistant athletic directors at the same time. I was coaching a couple sports already and directing the intramural program. He was coaching baseball and doing game operations. So the AD said, you're the assistant athletic director now for men's sports. And so you only have to do game management for the men's teams anymore. Bonnie, you're the assistant athletic director for women's sports. And with everything you got on your plate, you got to do the game management for women's sports now too. So, and Lonnie, the baseball coach, you're going with me to the AD's meeting next month. So we laugh about it now. We laugh about it now because I really think, athletic directors, by the way, that athletic director, we've had a long conversation about it and stuff, or just revisited it. He was young at the time too, growing and everything else. But in terms of equality, nobody wants to let down a good, hardworking person and treat them unfairly. I don't think any athletic director is going to have that. They talk about unconscious bias. They are not, purposely discriminating. They shouldn't be, with pay, with, equality issues, anything like that. The appreciation for diversity is there, but there's just little stories like, you talk about what were the hurdles, just little things like that. And forget my child at daycare completely because I was engrossed in projects and what have you. That didn't go over well, but
she turned out okay.
We got through it. And being criticized for taking a child with me on a road trip when I had hired a graduate student and paid them to watch my child while I was coaching at a one-day, we went not even an overnight, and being called in the carpet for that. And that was another challenge where now that D1 colleges, quite a few of them, will actually support childcare on the trip, and they're so much more supportive of that. But those are a few hurdles. I mean, real life, true, it happened. So, but you take everything, take with a grain of salt and push through. There's something in front of you, go over it, go around it, go under it, go by it, however you're going to do to get to the other side, and do it with a smile.
So a lot of students come out of university, either at the undergraduate or graduate level, thinking they're going to be an AD immediately, thinking they're going to graduate and start looking for AD jobs.
I hope not.
Right?
I hope not.
What kind of steps need to be followed? What can
it's no longer, a lot of times you had to be a coach for a long time and then go into administration, but there's now you can go straight into administration, and administration is managing tasks, managing people. It may be there's just I'll speak to collegiate, the wide spray of administrators that are needed for anything from marketing and academic affairs and compliance and over the athletic trainers. And so you think about, and working in graphic designs and working with brand partnerships or development or whatever, not even as an assistant athletic director, but as a coordinator, even. Just that they're getting this experience. And a lot of them have to do it with as graduate assistantships, graduate assistants, as assistants, as apprentices, doing a year-round internship. That's real popular now in colleges. You're seeing more of that. But that's the step towards that, and then getting the experience and deciding if that's what you want, is to truly be an athletic director over the budgets and over the programs. So a lot of times people just find a different niche that they appreciate in the vast field of administration and gravitate to that area.
As a former coach, I thought that's what I wanted to do, was to be an AD. And when I went to work for the university and started working in the athletic department, it was quick for me to realize, whoa, that's not the job for me.
Right?
Access to the athletes. I want to visit with the kids. I want to be where they are. I want to make a difference in their lives. And for me, in the AD position that I was seeing was more of like an MBA position, more a leader of people and a leader of,
budgets and CEOs, and you're standing, and then you have a revolving door because everybody wants you to get your approval and ask you a question. I was across as the senior woman administrator, assistant AD, across from the AD, and to see that door opening and the questions that were asked, and then the doors closed, and no way, I did not want that. No
No,
way.
was not, did not look forward to hiring and firing people, did not look forward to the business, aspect of it. And because I got that experience, realized, whoa, that's not what I needed to be doing. That wasn't where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that students who are in the program realize there's so many other things to do in the world of
Yes.
athletics that you
They
could be.
have to, it's better. Any division obviously is great, but where you're in a position where you can see all the actions and all the players, meaning the employees, not athletes, but the all the administrators and coaches, and what happens, just being like a sponge in the office, almost like, athletic trainers, they hear everything, don't they?
Yeah,
So
they do.
they hear all sports,
Mhm.
whatever's going on, rumor mill, everything else. Well, in the athletic department, that central office, you're going to get a lot of everything from the institution, not just athletics. So that's what I would really encourage, is that they get get experience where they're in a location where they can get a bigger picture of what's going on, not just in a coach's little cubbyhole.
Right. And so for those female students in the audience, uh, have you perceived over your career barriers to advancement for females? Have you seen a change in things, or have you not even known about that?
Change, positive. Let me tell you right now, I am so pumped for the entry level market in sports. First of all, is no longer an oversaturated market. It's a hot market. It's a hot market, the entry level positions for male and females. However, I am so pumped for women and minorities, or especially a woman who is a minority, because of the DEI efforts over all institutions. Then if you have something going on, you're a female or you're a minority female, your foot is ahead of the traditional white male. Your foot is ahead of them. If all things were equal, you got a head start. You do. You're going to be looked at. Your resume is going to be, wow. And a female, wow, you're going to the top. So so you talk about barriers. Well, there's, we can go on for days about it. But the biggest thing is that, if the resume, I guess the biggest barrier is that when there's an opening, the athletic director doesn't have enough female candidates. It's always saturated with more male candidates than females, 90-10. I mean, easy. So if we can get more quality female applicants in there, I think, that's it. So women are going to have to see, and it is, athletics being conducive to raising families, to getting a good salary, to finding work-life balance while you're in there. You can have all of those things. It is a good profession. And if you think that, and you got a good resume, you can get a job.
Well, I think I see for women, when I was in the athletic department and hiring and being on hiring committees, women self-censure ourselves. We look at a job qualifications like, oh, I'm missing two. A gentleman looks at the qualification, thinks I can do it.
Yeah, I'm missing two, but I can do that real well. Yeah,
right.
sure.
So
Sure.
I think one of the barriers that we would have to overcome is not putting that self-censoring on ourselves and putting our names forward for the jobs that we know we're qualified for.
Yeah, there's somehow there's got to be, the pipelines and getting, and more sponsors that are pushing people and pushing women in that, pushing those resumes out. So we got to get more resumes out there, right? They got to feel they have to put it out there, give it a chance, do that risk taking.
I think the last thing that I'd like to leave the students with is, most of them want to know, how did you get to where you are today? What is it that you did, that they got you to where you are? How did you get from A to B?
I know. I don't know. I do and I don't. It's like, how the heck did I get here? I sustained at this university with many different hats since 1988. And I'm revered enough, I guess, at the institution, but also in other circles and in sports. And how did I? And all right, I'll go mention, fighting cancer this past year, took a big look at like being so overwhelmed with the attention that I received from around the world from the institute. I mean, just totally blew me away, to make me think that, all right, I don't know what it is. So, it's like, all right, I'm okay. I did okay. I'm doing okay. But how did I get there? I think was that, try to keep a smile on your face. And I know I don't take no for an answer. I have to follow the rules maybe. But when I hear no, I hear no, but I'm going to try to change that person's mind
Right.
and strategize how to do it. So that was one thing, is that perseverance and always thinking there is a way, there is a way, there is a way, but always doing it with a smile or something. And I think just treating the way I treated people, or the way people, whatever, I think treating people decently and respectfully is important. And I think that was part of it too, along the lines, is I've been able to maintain rapport and do something right. So thanks though, Amy.
Well,
I
thank
don't
you.
know.
We're gonna end this here. Hold on just a second.